In the book of Romans, we're about to read about how what sin is like and how the human race has become so corrupted. And in our Old Testament reading, we really come to a culmination of Israel's sin. The story has basically been God formed Israel as a people. He gave them the promised land. He gave them eventually a king, Saul, and then David's son Solomon. And then after Solomon, there was a civil war that meant the people of Israel, the kingdom of Israel, was split in two. The northern kingdom retained that name Israel, and the southern kingdom took the name Judah. And that's why all the way through the books of the Kings, we've read about a king of Israel and king of Judah, king of Israel, king of Judah. And in 2 Kings 17, you might remember that the kingdom of Israel was finally destroyed by the Assyrians. The kingdom of Judah survived, and it carried on for another 100 years or so. And then we're reading about 596, 586 BC. This is when the Babylonians, who are now the superpower of the area, the Babylonians come and they attack Judah, and they eventually conquer it. There's a whole load of stuff that happens, but in the end what they do is they destroy Jerusalem and they destroy the temple, and they take the people of Israel, what's left of them from the kingdom of Judah, they take them away and into exile. And it's really the end of an era. This is an incredibly sad, poignant, painful moment for God's people. What lesson can we learn from this? Well, in Romans, as we're going to see over the next little while, there is a little line that says the wages of sin is death. And one of the things that is talking about is it is talking about the fact that God does judge sin. God takes sin very seriously. But there's another way of looking at it as well. And actually what it is when we live according to our own desires and our own wants and satisfying everything that makes us happy at the expense of living for other people and, number one, living for God, we end up in a place of destruction. We end up in a place that's full of lifelessness. We think by doing whatever we want, we'll be free. And the reality is most of the time that isn't the case. Someone once said, a fish, if it were to try and live without any sort of restrictions, if it were to, for example, move onto the land and try and live on the land, it would end up suffocating, it would end up dying, because it's made and designed for a certain set of restrictions, and within those, within the water where it can move and it can breathe, it actually finds freedom. When it lives according to the restrictions it's designed for, it finds life. The same is true of a plane. When it flies in the air according to the physics that involves, it flies. When it doesn't, then it crashes and it burns. And for us, you and I, we're not made to just do whatever the heck we want. We're actually designed to thrive within a certain set of restrictions, within a certain set of circumstances. And those restrictions are God's will for us. And they're boundaries. And what they are is to encourage us to life and to growth. It's like when you get a plant, you'll see on the little, if you plant a thing in a garden or something, it'll say this is the sort of conditions that this plant needs to thrive. It needs lots of sunshine, it needs lots of water, it needs to be in a sheltered area where it's not going to get battered by the wind. And if it is, then it will thrive. God has written kind of little instructions for how your life is to thrive. This book is the list of them. And what we see over and over, and particularly with Israel, is when we ignore those, we end up in a place that we do not want to be.